So, welcome to all our viewers to a fresh episode of the Brain Based Coaching Certification Participant Testimonials. I'm Soumya Chatterjee, Director of the NLI India and South Asia, and I'm excited to chat with our guest for the session, Tathagata Malakar, who's a Senior Director with a very well-known risk management company dealing with catastrophe risk modeling, amongst many other things. Thank you and welcome, Tathagata, to a brief conversation.
Thank you, Soumya. It's all my pleasure.
Great. So, Tatha, what I will do is I'm going to ask you a few questions and I want really your candid views on this. So, you went through a very long journey with brain-based coaching, almost 7 months, if I see from end to end. And the whole program was virtual in nature. So, what are your pre and post thoughts before you came into this virtual long duration program versus after you completed? What's been your experience with virtuality?
I guess, Soumya, so I'll just probably touch upon the fact that before getting onboarded onto the program, I had spent a good one and a half year doing the research as to where should I put my investment in terms of doing this course, learning the course. And it was a very difficult journey in some sense. But I've had fantastic people from your setup who had worked with me to explain me the course and the benefit of it. So while that part was very long, I think then when I took the plunge of taking this course, it was all fantastic. So these 7 months, it just appears that it went away very fast because it was an amazing experience, those 6-7 months. And I don't know. I mean, we were all in COVID and essentially virtual was the setup everywhere. And just by the virtue of the fact that the way the course was structured and the sort of people that were there as participants, as faculty, it never felt that it was virtual. I think every day that we used to have the session, around 2 hours before, we always will look up to when will 6 o'clock be the time, and we get into that. So it was very well bonded, and I think virtual was perfect in some sense. It gave you also your space. At the same time, it had the bonhomie and working together with any other people.
Great. And I don't know if you're aware of this research, but very recent brain science research has actually shown that virtual programs, by the virtue of its spacing, actually increases learning recall than if this were to be done in a classroom. So there is a lot of research now showing that virtual programs, if done well, actually make sense. So coming on to another area, most of us believe that we have done a bit of coaching, in our lives. And, so your pre and post thoughts on what you believed coaching was versus after that you've gone through this whole structured program. Has there been a shift in your way of thinking about coaching?
Dramatic in some sense, because I think in our professional space, coaching is mostly equated to a mentoring. And we all think that's what coaching is, where there's a lot of guidance and advice from the person who's coaching you. And many times we do that with the people that we are probably coaching. But I think this entire program, the conversation skills as well as the coaching one together, it did enlighten us as to what essentially coaching is. And it's so different from what we thought it was. So yeah, I mean, a big difference between my view of coaching before the course and after the course.
That's interesting to note. And in terms of your actual practice, if I may to ask you about how are you applying all this world of knowledge, the body of knowledge that you picked up in your day-to-day, workplace, or even with maybe other people? Are you seeing any impact of, the shifting over to the coaching conversation?
I think that's where this specific course was very helpful, Soumya, because if we talk about these 7 months that you mentioned, it was a journey. It was not a one-way download from the faculty. it was a journey that all of us went through. And in that journey, I think the way it was structured, we were coming up the coaching curve literally every day, right? And thus it was never a button press that, okay, now I have the certificate and I start my coaching journey. I think I practiced coaching as was advised by the faculty while doing this entire course with my people at work, sometimes at personal space. So I think thus, by the time you actually get the certificate, it's more like a certificate which you have to do your practice. But but the handholding that has happened through this journey, I think, transforms you in that sense where you don't necessarily one fine day wake up and do a coaching. You start doing coaching. It's, I mean, the thoughts that I had is that it's been a transformational journey for me, both in professional space as well as in personal space. And that's where I think every small things that I picked up through the journey added to my coaching experience.
That's interesting that you mentioned that, because it is a fact that our program is actually designed with 40% theory and 60% practice. So yeah, very, very true that the practice element is very evident in the certification program. So thank you for
And
bringing that
it's
up.
there's not also a Chinese wall between the two. The 40% is embedded along with the 60%, and the 60% embedded so well with the 40% that you learn, practice, and you just come up as a coach by the time it ends.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've always been talking about this, right? That coaching is not an awareness program. It's a skilling program. It's a new skill that you develop. So practice is essential. Great. Switching on to another area, in terms of the content itself, there is so much, it's so rich a content.
Absolutely.
What are the one or two things that you believe really got you excited?
Lot of things. Again, I don't think anybody ever would tell you after the course that there's only one or two things. There are a lot of things, and most of them again get embedded so well because you practice. So it just stays with you. One, I think, biggest thing for me was, which was a part of my transformation, was the growth insight, or the growth mindset, right? I think that entire concept was very, very interesting for me to understand how your mindset, if it gets rigid, it starts hampering your own development, your growth. If you get stuck to one thought and one way of looking at things, then how you unconsciously become too judgmental and things like that. So I think the growth mindset concept was fantastic. Apart from that, I mean, again, there were a lot of things. I did like the create model. There were lots of models, right? And as I said, to me, mentoring was coaching before. So I think when the TAPS model was introduced, it was very, very appealing to me because we always remained in that mentoring zone, and how it differentiates with the coaching came through that. So, and lastly, I think I would also want to say is the mentoring part. So I was part, or I benefited from getting mentored from NLI, and those mentoring hours were very, very helpful. They actually talk about practical problems, real problems, which was also considered within the normal course duration. But I think these were after practicing with, for me, it was with some people who are strangers to me, and I did some coaching sessions. And bringing up those issues or dilemmas that I had to the mentor, and the mentor helping me was also fantastic.
Great. In fact, what you're saying is that basically mentoring embedded some of the learning that you had
Oh,
already learned in the program. Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely, absolutely. So my last question to you is, Tatha, if I were to ask you, there are many programs today. In fact, there's mushroom of coaching institutions, and people are confused out there, when they're looking for a great course. And since you spoke about the fact that you had done some research around, and you looked at multiple things before you actually honed on to the brain-based coaching certification. What will be one or two things that you would like to, share as an advice or as a passing remark before we conclude?
to me, as I said again, it's transformation. So if we really want to get into a better version of ourselves, if we really want to make a difference for ourselves and to ourselves, I would definitely suggest going through this program and this program in entirety, because it's been an amazing journey, and not just an adjective amazing, but I think there has been experiences which you really can't put in words. You can bring your own dilemmas and do practice. You can work with others' dilemmas and do practice. So fantastic journey. I think overall, from the days somebody contacted me from NLI to work on, work with me to position this course till the end of my mentoring. For me, I think what has been splendid has been the people that I have essentially, or the people who have been the faculty and have touched me from NLI, because I think this entire brain-based concept, right, is seen in application when you work with people from NLI. We learned that what brain-based concepts are and how that strings through this entire coaching piece. But when you talk or when you work with people from NLI, you could see that being practiced, right? So that uplifts your outlook towards a program of this rich content, to say that if this is what I can become, then why not pursue this course and learn this course? So yeah, I mean, I think overall that's been the learning and the transformation that has happened.
So thank you, Tathagata. And ladies and gentlemen, we just concluding our brief conversation with Tathagata, who's one of our alumni of the Coach Tribe, which is an online brain-based coach community in India. And we wish him all the best and be in touch. Take care.
Absolutely.
Thank you.